Back in New Orleans, talking now with Arkansas State head coach Butch Jones, about to enter year one in Jonesboro, one of the three new head coaches in the West Division. Coach, first of all, congratulations on getting back in the head coaching game. What's it been like getting reacclimated to having your own team?
I tell you what, it's been a great process, and getting back in the head coaching chair, and very fortunate with Coach Saban and kind of the role that I had at the University of Alabama. So I never really kind of left that role, but to be running your own program again, being able to be around the players, create the infrastructure that you need, the culture, your principles, your values that are going to guide you every day. I've enjoyed every minute of it.
You've been a head coach at multiple places, and I would imagine that everybody asks you, well, what did you learn from Saban? What did you learn from Saban? What do you think that you taught him?
Oh, you know what? You're the first person that's asked
I
me
was
that
hoping
question.
I would be.
You know, that's really hard to say because that man, is arguably the greatest football coach of all time.
Yeah.
But, I cherish the many memories of sitting in his office, doing problem solving, getting ready to hire a staff, bouncing different opinions off of each other. We still talk very regularly. So, again, those moments, and have an opportunity to win a national championship, it really, that time in Tuscaloosa, I was able to sit back and truly evaluate the three stops, and everything was about being able to look at things through a critical eye. And I really self-examined everything that you did, the things that you liked, the things you need to continue to do to improve and get better. And so it was great from a, I don't want to say a self-discovery standpoint, but just from a self-overall evaluation and what we needed to do in order when the next job came, what we needed to do to continue to move forward.
When you started talking about what the possibilities with Arkansas State were, what was the kind of the thought you had of what the Sun Belt Conference and what Sun Belt Conference football was all about?
Well, having been in the SEC for the last 8 years, obviously the proximity of the Sun Belt Conference, and whether it was Tennessee or Alabama, we played a lot of Sun Belt teams. Tremendous amount of respect when you really look at the growth of the Sun Belt. And I always talk about fact checks. All you have to do is look at the facts behind what everyone's talking about. But, you have a conference that's comprised of great coaches, great players, but really committed institutions that are doing everything to make their football programs, their athletic programs, the best that they can possibly be. And so have had a lot of respect for the Sun Belt. And then, again, it's a challenge week in and week out. I think arguably you have the SEC and you have the Sun Belt because of the competitive structure of the conference week in and week out.
You just won a national championship at Alabama. Arkansas State is among the best programs in G5 in a number of different areas, facilities-wise. You could put them ahead of a lot of P5 schools. But when you combine that and the ability to go into a prospective recruit's house and say, hey, I've got national championship ring, that's got to be a pretty compelling thing.
It was, and I think the other thing is we had already established relationships with a lot of the individuals that we were recruiting. I believe we only had a week with the early signing period to be able to assemble, a class. But we relied on all of our camps. We relied on our relationships that were built over a couple years. And so I think that really helped us. And then, comprising a staff that is coached at the highest level, understands the recruitment part of it, and every day what you need to do in order to develop your team, develop your players, but also recruit at a high level.
The Eagles and the Red Wolves did not play each other last year, but a quick scan of the roster, it is a lot different from what we saw in 2019. Red Wolves got that close victory out in Jonesboro. But as you're trying to build your team your way, what are some of the things that Eagle Nation is going to notice when you come to Statesboro in October?
That's a great question, and we're continuing to be work in progress. And just so you know, your program models consistency. When you look at Coach Lunsford and how long he's been there, and you look at the winning tradition, matter of fact, you have a very proud alumnus on our coaching staff who coaches our tight ends, and Andy Kwan. So I hear about the program every single day.
He's a great dancer, too. I'm sure he's told you about that.
I can show you many videos one day. So when we come there, I may have a video, too, for you on the phone. But, just the consistency in the program and everything that it brings about. But in terms of our program, everything is about a culture. And everything we talk about is learning how to play winning football. And that's something that we had to really get into this spring. And before you can ever win the game, you have to not lose the game. And that may sound very profound, but from turnovers, costly mistakes, undisciplined penalties, just things like that. So really them understanding what it takes to play winning football, the style of play, the consistency and performance that goes each and every day down in and down out.
You guys have so many athletes on that roster. Arkansas State is always known for being, if not the most, one of the most athletic teams in the Sun Belt. But you've been pretty adamant this offseason. This squad has to get tougher, have to get more physical. Yes. How have you been building towards that?
Well, I think first of all, it stems in your sports performance. You know, our players unfortunately really went about a full year without any strength and conditioning program in terms of, you know, they had started spring football pre-COVID. Then the pandemic hit, so they went through basically a full year, and so we really had to improve in the sports performance area, being more powerful, more explosive. And Jeff Jones is head of our sports performance, and our players have done a good job to date of really getting into that, because that is a byproduct of playing physical, but also just the mental toughness, the mental conditioning too. So all you have to do is look at the lines of scrimmage. We did not do a very good job of running the football on offense, nor did we do a good job of really stopping the run on defense. And really, that is a byproduct of the mentality in your football program.
You've talked about culture a lot since you got to Jonesboro. What's the biggest thing that you want this Arkansas State team to be known for off the football field?
Brotherhood, love and ownership, and team chemistry, you know, having that synergy, and that's something that we've worked exceptionally hard on, and I've been really, really proud of our players. I like our football team. You know, they've embraced the new coaching staff. They've embraced the changes, but really building a confidence, building an affinity for Arkansas State University, the brand and what they represent. You know, we had Demario Davis talk to our football team, and if there's ever a great spokesperson for an alumnus, you know, to talk to your program, it's him. You know, and he talked about, you know, the people that came before you and how they built it, and the facilities and the reputation and all that goes into it. So it was a very, very powerful talk, and I know our players took a lot away from that.
That's part of your 4th and 1 program. You've had
That's
Charles
correct.
Barkley speak to the team. You've had Travis Kelce speak to the team. And what gets lost is that you coached him at Cincinnati. I don't think a lot of people recollect that he was a really good player at Cincinnati under you. But getting that program in place, what kind of things do you want your team to be able to learn from hearing from people that have already done it?
Well, I think anytime you can bring successful people in, it really helps, because really, if you look at it, they're saying the same things. They may just have a different approach or a different delivery, but they keep hearing basically the same message over and over and over again. And really, what it understands to be committed. You know, what does it understand to be the best version of you every day? And really the sacrifice that goes into it each and every day. And, you know, we talked about this a lot with Coach Saban, is I think what's missing in the world today is the ability to self-assess, you know, to really look at things through a critical eye. And if everyone just continues to improve and self-assess every day where they're at, we're going to be just fine.
Final question. When you're trying to self-assess a group that you just got to know, still getting to know, and you've had to turn over so much of the roster, how much more challenging is that aspect?
It's challenging, but the other thing, you know, when we talked about culture in our first team meeting, I told them this is the most exciting thing we can do, because we're responsible for what we create. And we're going to create it on a daily basis, the way we think, the way we act, the way we talk. So, you know, we've kind of embraced that. It's been a challenge, but I tell you what, again, it's exciting, because when you see, you know, when you see the benefits coming from it, we had 60 players with a 3.0 or above. You know, we finished at a 2.999. We have 15 college graduates on our roster. When you see that, and then you see the progression from the sports performance, the team chemistry, the 4th and 1, but we have a long way to go. Yeah. As you know, when this interview started, the Sun Belt is unforgiving week in and week out. And then I think, you know, what I've come to admire, you know, from whether it was Central Michigan or Arkansas State, the other thing that people don't understand is the challenging non-conference schedules that we have to play as well. So when you look at the challenging non-conference schedule coupled with the conference schedule, it makes for a great, challenging, and exciting season.
Coach, congratulations on getting to Arkansas State. Best of luck to you guys this year, and we will see you October the 2nd in Statesboro.
Appreciate it, and I'll bring those videos of Andy Kwan.
Sounds good.